Help support the companies that support our community. I started out by marking each end of the blank to find center on it, and then I used a punch to put a little dimple in it, and that will go into the live center and the spur center on the lathe. Then I can go ahead and put a tenon down on this and get it shaped. So last week I picked a piece of apple burl for the wood and just fell in love with it, and I couldn't do it. So this week, this is a chunk out of a baseball bat blank, so chances of me loving it are super slim. So I'm going to go ahead and turn a vase. I'm going to do the outside of it now and shape it, and then I will get it hollowed out, and then we will take it over to the bandsaw. So this process here, I just kind of sped this up. I just used spindle gouge, made the outside shape, and then turned right around and used a Forstner bit to clean out the majority of the material, and then started hollowing it out. So with this, because I am going to cut it in half, and this is the first time I've ever done one like this, I didn't make the wall thickness very thin because I am going to put a piece in the center of it, and so I left the wall thickness actually pretty thick, so I had plenty of glue space. This is more of a test than anything else. After I had it all hollowed out, went ahead and sanded the top portion of it, ran through all the grits all the way up to 600, oiled it, and then I'm going to go ahead and flip it around and take the foot off and basically finish the vase at this point. After I had it all done, straight to the bandsaw and cut it in half. So I just kind of picked a spot. If you're going to make one of these, you can adjust where you cut it, how the angle you cut it. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of picked it in the middle. Then I grabbed my sanding disc, mounted that on. So I had to put a new pad on. I had taken it off for another project. So I just used a pencil and put a few marks on it so I could get it lined up. And this works pretty easy. Just find whatever ring it is that's closest to your disc and stick it right on. And It's made out of MDF and it has a faceplate mounted on the back of it. So this works perfect if you're trying to sand something perfectly flat like what I'm about to do with the vase. So this is a great way, and you can get these sanding discs in a bunch of different sizes too. The piece I'm going to put in the middle is walnut. So what I did is on both ends, I took the calipers and measured the vase first and then brought down both those ends so it would match up when I try and put this thing back together. And then that way I can do whatever I want to the center of it, but those ends are going to stay the same. And then after I got it kind of turned out, I went ahead and flushed up the ends of it too so they sit nice and flat. So for this, I kind of made like an hourglass shape, and just bringing down the sides, right down to the center. And then I'm going to switch over and use the beading tool to bead this whole thing. So the two parts on the very end that I brought down with the calipers, I didn't bead those. I left those flat because I figured there was going to be some sanding around where the glue line is, and you know, if they don't match up perfect, which I'm glad I did because I did have to sand a little bit. So I left those without a bead on it. I didn't want to have to just try and sand a bead back down. So I just put a little bit of glue on there. No, it's not mustard, it's Type Bond 2. So put a little bit on, I glued up each piece separately. I went ahead and put I believe it's the top on first, and then I waited about an hour and then put the bottom on. All right, there we go. It is out of maple and walnut, so it kicks it off center like that. So Robin was looking for some project ideas. She found a great one that we're going to do later on, but I was looking on there too, and I found a vase that looks very similar to this, and I have never seen one before. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to try and do it. I saw the picture on Pinterest. I'm not sure who actually did the vase. If anybody out there knows, leave it below in the comments, because it was a fun project. So I was just kind of doing a test with this, and I didn't hollow out the walnut part. So if I ever do another one, I will hollow out actually this part of it too. But it was actually fun. It's just kind of something different. I was thinking too as I was cupping this out, because the one they had done, it was very similar to that. They just kind of made an hourglass shape, but you could bulge it out the other way, just make it round, come out. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with it. It's fun. One tip: don't hollow all the way down in it. Make the base solid about that much, and maybe not make it so small, because it does stand up. But if you slam the door or if the wind blows hard, it will tip over. So just kicking it off just a little bit made it a little wobbly. So definitely make the base a little bit bigger and maybe leave a little bit of wood down at the bottom of it. But it was a fun project. Yeah, it was just a chunk off a baseball bat blank, and then that piece of walnut there. So it's, as far as like where it goes together, so on the sides it matches up pretty perfectly, but this way there's a little bit more of an overhang because you're cutting it at an angle. It's not going to line up perfect, so keep that in mind. Like when I did the beads too, I left that flat little surface there so that I could go back and sand it. I figured it wasn't going to be dead on no matter what, but it is off a little bit, so make sure you account for that when you're doing it. But fun project, something new to try. All right, don't forget, tomorrow the 15th, we will be at the Woodcraft in Tigard here, and we're doing a demo from 1 to 4 for Easy Wood. I'm going to be turning a lidded box and a bowl. So if you're in the area, I hope to see you there. All right, hope you enjoyed this, whatever it is. All right, we'll see you next week.